Hello again, Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to give 3 keys to victory for LSU in its game with Alabama. We have a full preview of that one elsewhere on the channel, but we're going to specifically talk about this. Chase, let's get right into it. Key number 1 for LSU is forced turnovers. Jalen Milroe of Alabama is a super talented player. But there are times that he will leave it out there for a takeaway, and I think that's one key for LSU, which does have a pretty good pass rush, is try to put Milroe and his teammates in that kind of a spot.
Yeah, we've seen him, especially as of late. Jalen Milroe has turned the ball over, and we saw him in the Vanderbilt game. That pick six there at the beginning kind of put the game into Vanderbilt's hand. We saw him turn the ball over against Tennessee. We've just been seeing him turn the ball over more, I feel like, as of late than normal. So if you're LSU, you want to be able to force some turnovers, get him off balance, get him making mistakes, and so then the Tigers could turn around and capitalize on them. But I think forcing turnovers is going to be big because, again, you look at what Jalen Milroe has done. He's a great quarterback, but he has been turning the ball over. Yeah. Make the guys running the ball have to work for it. Force a fumble or two. That could go in your favor as well. And so I think turnover, obviously in any game, the turnover battle is huge. But I feel like in a game like this, the fans are going to be into it. It's going to be loud. There's going to be some miscommunication. Take advantage of that and force some turnovers on the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, that's one thing that Vanderbilt did to Alabama when it beat it. It got a couple early turnovers, got Alabama playing from behind. That took the running game away. So you've seen game flow like that be a little bit of an issue for Alabama in the past. Number 2, limit big plays. Now, this one easier said than done. Yeah. Jalen Milroe, Ryan Williams, they've got explosiveness at times in the running game. Alabama is probably one of the biggest big play teams in the country, and that you can get turnovers, but then they will make up for it that way on the next possession.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like we saw so many big plays from Ryan Williams earlier on in the season. Well, defenses have been adjusted to that to stop him, but then you got a guy like Jeremy Bernard or Law or these guys who are starting to come in. They're implementing some tight ends into the offense to get some of these big plays. So it's more than just Ryan Williams now. It's other guys, and so that makes the opposing defense think, well, who should I cover? How can I work this? Because there's multiple guys who can make these big plays for LSU or for Alabama, rather. And so if you're LSU, you've got to be on top of your game. And I think about the 2 guys that are on the corners for LSU, Ashton Stamps and Zy Alexander. They've had great seasons so far, but to me, this is going to be their biggest test as far as big plays goes. They haven't seen a team that can put up big plays like Alabama can when they're at the top of their game. Yeah, when you have Jalen Milroe, who does have a great arm, he's got great receivers to throw to, Ryan Williams being one of those, but still Bernard, these other guys that are out there, like, they're dangerous when it comes to big plays. And we've seen it in some big games this year of them being able to do that. And so you have got to limit the big plays if you're LSU, because you got to imagine that's in the game plan for Alabama. Is to work those corners, get in that secondary. So limiting big plays, I feel like, will be big for the LSU Tigers this week.
Before we get into our third key reminder, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number 1 source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen, with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Key number 3 on offense, balanced attack. We know about LSU's potent passing attack. Garrett Nussmeier, Kyron Lacey, Mason Taylor, Aaron Anderson, all kinds of guys there. But when LSU is really playing well, Caden Durham is running the ball well. He's been a little bit banged up. Feels like he's a little bit better coming into this week based on injury reports compared to past weeks. Of course, they've got a monster of an offensive line, particularly at the tackles, and it looks like they're getting maybe a little bit healthier there at guard too. I think having Caden Durham is a big part of what they do, and opening holes for him will be a big key in making key number 3 happen here, Chase.
Will be, and you think back to the A&M game, they started out in the lead, they lost that lead, and then they were having to just throw the football. They threw the ball 50 times in that game versus Texas A&M. They had to kind of abandon the run, and they were just off balance, and that led to 3 turnovers offensively, 3 picks from Nussmeier in that game against Texas A&M. And so I feel like to be more balanced is what they need to do. Get those running backs you were mentioning, get them involved, get them running. Also, utilize the pass game because we know Garrett Nussmeier is a great quarterback. He's got, again, you mentioned the great guys to go to, but being balanced, not just focusing on throwing the football to those guys, because Kane Womack, defensive coordinator at Alabama, to me is going to be ready for that. He's going to be ready to stop those receivers with his defense, and so utilize that run game, get it going back, and again, a lot of that will have to do with how the game flow is going. But still, I think a balanced attack, utilizing your running backs, but also utilizing Garrett Nussmeier the way he can throw as well. But again, we saw with A&M, they threw the ball so much it led to turnovers and it led to a loss. And so I think a balanced attack will be very good for LSU this weekend.
We'll be here to talk about that one afterwards. We do a Saturday night recap that starts around at 9:30 Central. We do it live, so hope you'll join us to get that. Best way to see it, hit that subscribe button. That's free. Enable your notifications so you know when we go live. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. You have been watching Southeastern 16 presented by Bet Online.